Welcome to Unplugged and Unstoppable, the antidote for being black-pilled. And in today's episode, we meet Sam Neffendorf, who I first met back in 2010 doing breakfast networking. And in our small businesses then, we didn't realise that our paths would cross again. And today we're going to learn all about Sam's journey from corporate life to now living in Spain with his young family and running a business both online and face-to-face. And his personal awakening story is fascinating, and some of the things that we learned today about running an online business are really, really insightful. So Sam's running an event, and it's on the 12th of August, and let's hear a little bit about that before we meet Sam himself.
When I open my eyes now to look, I see so much more.
So in this workshop, Frequency Rebellion, we're going to basically help people to get coherent with themselves. So their nervous system, like basically simple tools to bring their heart and their brain into coherence, calm the nervous system. Then we're going to use tapping in a group setting. Group tapping is brilliant because there's this collective energy called borrowing benefits. So you can all benefit from hearing someone tap on their individual situation, whatever it is. You can also find healing for yourself in that as well. And then we're going to go from that. When we've got to a good level of coherence in the group, we're actually going to do a collective energy process and send what I'm calling a directed energy beam at the control grid. But it's not really at the control grid, it's really about creating the reality that we all want to live in and how that would feel, and actually affecting something called the morphic resonance, which is the concept that you can change what's going on vibrationally through your intention.
Welcome to Unplugged and Unstoppable, episode 3, and I'm delighted this week to have Sam Neffendorf with me today. And we go back a little way, Sam. I think we first met in a business networking group. Great to have you with us. Let's share some of that experience.
Yeah, really great to be here. Yeah, it was really good meeting you. It was a long time ago now. But yeah, I was still a financial advisor, and we met at some form of business networking. I can't remember what it was. Yeah. But the thing I remember about it was that you came to my office to have a meeting with my business partner and I, and you asked a question about the stock market, and he gave a sort of stock independent financial advisor response, and then you started talking about how everything was controlled and how everything was all run by a secret hand and all of those different things. And I was just like, yes, this is amazing, because I'd already at that stage was already walking in two worlds and really looking for my way out of that matrix type environment. And yeah, it was just really refreshing to get that, hear that coming from someone else back in those days.
And do you know, 2010-11, which I think is when it was, I was in real estate trying to find investors, and at that stage I probably learned about fractional reserve banking and fiat currency and central banking, and I realized I was only scratching, I didn't realize how much more I needed to look into, but like you, I was straddling two worlds, like the realization of there's some major things amiss in the construct. So take us back, let's take us back to a place where you were, if you like, going through your awakening, and how would you describe it?
I think it's been a lifelong process for me, because even when I was very young, and I imagine many children go through these kinds of things, but I really is this real? Is this am I, like, one of the things I thought when I was very young is, am I actually a robot that's pretended to think it's a boy? And also, is this all real? But then in my sort of late teens and going into my university times, I was quite like yeah anarchistic. I was involved in um free party world, and so coming up against that was a thing, coming up against the government at the time, and
Okay.
so feeling alternative but still in that sort of, I guess, fighting way of seeing things. But then like many people, I fell into the sort of collective construct of
Yeah.
needing a job and then ending up with a job working in financial services,
Hmm.
which then became I was, although I still was very much into alternative things, we could just, and thinking that way,
Hmm.
I was in this industry, and gradually I did better and better at it. I started doing exams. And then eventually, when you met me, I was a co-owner of a business in that field, but it never sat well with me. It was
Okay.
My heart would sink when I was thinking about that, even though actually being like, you can be an independent financial advisor and be really helping people to see their way through a very heavy weighted system and supporting them through that. And we were doing that, but it didn't resonate with me at all.
Okay.
Um, I went I went traveling. I had a break in my sort of career between 2004 and 2006, and I was like, yep, I'm never going to go back to that industry again. That's it. I'm going to go away, and I'm sure I'm going to come back and do something else. And while I was away, I did learn Reiki. I became a
Okay.
Reiki practitioner, but I didn't have this bolt of inspiration from the blue. I had a great time for 2 years traveling around Asia and Australia, New Zealand, places like that.
Nice.
Had a really good time, but I didn't. Came back, and after a stint of trying to work as a gardener, which was fun, but eventually I needed actually to earn more than I could see myself doing at that time as a gardener.
Hmm.
And very quickly ended up back in standard life, which is a funny name for work if you think about what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
But during that, someone gave me a David Icke book for my birthday,
Okay.
Children of the Matrix, in 2007.
Okay.
And I remember reading it. I was like, ah, ha, ha, very funny. Then I started reading it, and I was like, this is true,
And
basically.
how did you correlate that? Just observations of your own, or did you go off and do research, or did that even exist then?
Um, did what? Research?
Research, like online research.
Well, I guess you could. It was certainly available to go on the internet by that time,
Hmm.
2007, sure. But um, just the pattern. I'm not, of course, not no one's getting everything right, but I was spotting some things in what he was saying, which really made a lot of sense to me.
Okay.
And as I know now, I am, I guess I was following intuition and realizing that did actually all fit together and
Right.
make sense. I mean, his stuff is pretty well researched. It's not that everything he said is correct, of course, but there's a
Sure.
lot of good awakening stuff up until a point in it, I would say.
Okay. So how long did you kind of stay in the IFA position then, and then became a business owner? Were you struggling with that for quite a number of years before you finally quit?
Well, I got made redundant from Standard Life in
Okay.
2009,
Okay.
and surrounded by people who were really upset. I was really happy when that happened, because that was like another opportunity, like going traveling, to make good my escape. Um, so I was like, right, I'd never had any acupuncture at this point, but my thought then when that day was, I'm going to go and retrain as an acupuncturist.
Oh, right. Okay.
I just thought it looked really interesting and that it would really help people. Um, but actually, my friend who also got made redundant with me, who you met, was, yeah, he like presented this opportunity to go and set up this IFA practice, and my head was like, "Oh, that's a good idea," but my heart, which I didn't pay attention to at that time because I didn't know what I know now, just went, "Ugh."
Really?
And
Okay.
sure enough, it was 3 years that were very challenging for me work-wise. On a day-to-day basis, just got through it, and a lot of the rest of my life was good. But when I actually felt into what I was doing and thought about it, I was running this limiting belief that work was something that I would have to suffer in, and that I wasn't inspired enough to create something that was actually um, in alignment with who I am, something along those lines, and that I was going to have to just suck it up work-wise.
Yeah.
But I found out about EFT tapping
Okay.
during that time. Towards the end, actually, there's a very important step I haven't mentioned, is that my wife and I were trying to have children,
Okay.
and I had a diagnosis. I went to get tested after about a year of nothing happening, and I was told by the GP that I was very unlikely to have children naturally, because I had a condition basically where my own antibodies were attacking my sperm cells and
Wow.
making them immobile. So that was a massive shock to me. And after all the why me, all of those things about that people go through when they get that sort of bad news,
Sure.
I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try acupuncture. And so I went and had acupuncture. Then that acupuncturist recommended that I go and see someone about Chinese herbs as well.
Okay.
And I had at this time also started doing something called the Munaiki rites, which is like shamanic initiations and
Okay.
more mind body stuff. And so I had all those three things going on. And and I did 3 months of that, and then when I went and got checked out, the doctor said, "Oh, I mean, the original problem was still there, actually, exactly the same." And that, because I was only looking at that in isolation, I felt really bad about that. But what I heard but didn't clock really was that he said everything else had been boosted to really high levels, and that wouldn't necessarily be a problem anymore.
Okay.
And sure enough, 1 month later, my wife was happy to let me know that she was pregnant. And
Amazing.
we've now got nearly 14-year-old, and we've also got a younger daughter as well. So
That's amazing. So walk us through what you think the transformation, what was the core, what was the transformation process, and what do you think triggered that for you?
triggered
Triggered the success, I guess.
the success in the
Conceiving.
actual pregnancy.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was so. As I look at it now, because now I work with sort of a minor niche of mine is helping couples to conceive, whether I'm working with one or both of them.
Okay.
I've had about 6 successes with people who've
Wow.
who've not been able to have children, and then have come and see me. And often the month afterwards is when, after they finish working with me, just like in my story, is when it happened. So I think there's a few things going on. One of them is that you're actually releasing stress. Stress just generally can doesn't make it impossible, but it can make it harder for
Sure.
pregnancy to happen. Of course, children are born in very stressful circumstances throughout the world, so it's not everything in it, but it's certainly a big influence on it. There was the physical aspect of the herbs and the effect that they were having, and probably there's an emotional effect on that as well. The acupuncture is stimulating the meridian system, so helping to get your chi energy flowing, very similar to what EFT does, tapping that I
Okay.
use.
Yes.
And then, but then, as you know, looking at it now from the lens I've got now, then it's going to be, I would actually be looking at things like conflicts that people had around, um, yeah, like sort of sexual arguments or
Yes.
conflicts like that, or things around profound loss in their
Yes.
life. If people have had, major losses, um, serious grief, those kind of things, then that can affect the sex organs as well,
Wow.
and whether they're and that can cause all sorts of different symptoms to
That's
arise.
really profound. Now we'll catch up with you on EFT shortly, but
Hmm.
what I'm keen to do is stay on track with your journey. So you've now got a beautiful baby daughter, did you say?
That was a son, yeah,
Son, and
yeah,
you're still working in a practice. You're
yes.
conflicted. What's your wife? So what are you saying to your wife? Are you telling her you want out yet, or give us a walkthrough?
I mean, she certainly knew, um, and and what actually happened there is during that time of the pregnancy,
Hmm.
again, because I'd had that success with acupuncture, I started to really want to study acupuncture, and I looked more seriously into it. And then I found that it was going to be for the amount of time I could put into it, it would be like a 4 or 5 year course, basically. So I was like, okay, well, I'm still going to do this, but then actually um, at a conference which was around things around fractional reserve banking and sovereignty and all of those
Okay.
things that we like to talk about. I heard about this tapping technique and how it was helping people in really like difficult situations such as complex court cases to keep themselves grounded and cool, to be able to represent themselves at the best. And I was like,
Mm.
wow, that sounds really interesting. So I
Mm.
just booked on a course of it. And as I found out, it's combines everything you can do with acupuncture with psychology as well. So
Wow.
you've got a tool that you can use with whatever you've got to really powerfully affect the conscious and subconscious mind at the same time. And then basically I used it to um I kept going at that, and then I launched a practice of doing sort of helping people with their work with this kind of work to
Hmm.
release like emotional stress, limiting beliefs, etc. At the same time as I was still in the IFA practice, but I was definitely straddling two worlds even more then.
Yes. So you were trying to fit in your day job, if you like, and
Yeah,
starting to grow an online, sorry, a face-to-face business, I guess, was it at that time? No
it
Zoom?
was face to face,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
in
Okay.
Bristol. Yeah,
And so what does EFT stand for?
it's emotional freedom techniques,
Okay.
also just known as tapping.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I must say to everyone listening, I've been through your sort of short taster course, and I got a lot from it. You don't realize what holds you back sometimes,
Mm.
especially when you're thinking about your future, your business life, what things are blocking you. And certainly things come up. Certainly you've touched on a couple already, like grief. Certainly there's that playing a part in my life,
Mm.
but it's also guilt for things. You beat
Yeah.
yourself up for things. I made a mistake on this finance decision. Beat yourself up, and then you project that limiting belief, or that sort of almost injuring belief,
Yes.
on top of future financial decisions.
Mm.
And that was one of the things I was working on whilst I was doing your course. And I definitely felt, as you go through the technique, I could sense that had gone, or at least next time I thought about money, I wasn't kind of going, it's good, beat yourself up about something that happened 20 years ago. Why is
Yeah,
it still,
absolutely.
why is it still buried there? And that for me was a good example of how the material and how you step people through that particular technique online as a course
Yeah,
is
but I
great.
mean that course is available. It's called Tapping for Self-Help, and I just invite people to get that for free from my website because I mean actually you can learn basic EFT
Yes,
online, even on YouTube. But I wanted to show how I do it and really getting into the feelings rather than the generic way that many people do it.
100%.
And I think that, and I'm really happy to hear that from you because I've heard from a number of people that they've gone through that, yeah, that course, which is no cost, and got some really good results out of it. So, yeah,
There's
that's
nothing better. There's nothing better than approaching a subject than having a bit of immersion, a taster session, so that you at least know,
yeah,
okay, I know how to do it, I know how to implement it, and you can try it on one or two small or even large subjects.
yeah,
So, so now take us back to, your son is born, you're
yes.
setting up a practice, you're still in your business.
Hmm.
Can you talk us through what happened to make the final plunge and jack it
Yeah,
up
the
again?
almost final plunge, I'm going to call it,
Okay,
which you'll hear about in a minute. So,
okay,
things were getting so there's a couple of things. Things were getting tough in the business. There was conflict between the directors,
okay,
and that was uncomfortable.
yeah,
I really didn't enjoy it anyway. And then the big one, the absolute biggest, was that my boy was born and I didn't want to miss it. I wanted to
sure,
be there to spend time enjoying his early life and being there, not just being there at the start of the day and the end of the day and barely seeing him.
mm,
So I was really keen to do that, and I actually so I proposed that to leave this the financial planning company, and at the same time, my business partner, who I joined there with, he also wanted to leave, and I used tapping during that whole process to keep me calm and negotiate in a good way during our meetings. And what was really nice about it at the end was everyone got a good deal.
good,
So the two who remained got a good deal, and the two of us who left got a good deal. Where it could have gone in a much more difficult way,
yeah,
perhaps.
that's good.
So that was very positive, and we, everyone still remained friends afterwards as well. And but then what also happened was they actually invited me to stay on, but no longer as a director. So I made myself redundant or became redundant, got made redundant, whatever.
Yeah,
And then they invited me back just to work 2 days a week on a purely based on the business that I did for the company.
very good.
And actually, that was a bridge that was unexpected, but incredibly useful because it allowed me to build the tapping practice, which had more elements to it than just tapping, but I'll just call it that for now.
Yeah,
Um, alongside having some income coming in, and and I did that for about a year and a half before I was like, "Thank you, that was great, but it's too much of a split focus, and now I can just go and focus on this and
brilliant.
really build that." So
That's a really good story, and I recommend, having done this kind of straddle one thing and another, doing real
yeah,
estate and my IT role, is you need that kind of stable income whilst you build something a lot less stable initially,
yeah,
just so that you can get a good night's sleep. Some of the bills, or sometimes all of the bills, have been covered at least.
yeah. I
Certainly,
mean, it provided me a fantastic platform,
yeah,
and I'm very grateful for that. And it was good for them as well because they knew me and were able to. They knew the things that I was really good at for that, and yes, but so it really, really helped. But and I was also extremely grateful to leave.
Yeah. So, but I guess there was a nice relief having both the income and not a 5-day commitment.
Yes.
I guess it made the 2 days a lot more enjoyable than the
It
5
made it,
weeks.
well, it made them acceptable.
Yeah.
And also it, like, yeah, and it really did help to have that. But yeah, so still, I didn't really want to be there, but it was very valuable. But what I would say, like, of course, it's great to have that, but sometimes you don't have that, but you can, of course, still build something without that platform. It's just if you are in that position and you can negotiate a way to maintain something, go part time or whatever, then that can be a really great way to move into like
Good
your
advice.
freedom role or whatever.
Good advice, because pivoting from what I used to do, you know me a little bit, Sam, as I used to do quite a lot of live streams in the Truther
Mm.
movement, which is all
Yes.
good. I used to be an activist. I used to have
Yeah.
quite a big following in Event 202 with Simone, and we did a lot of work. But my audience that I'd like to grow is exactly the same people, but with the intention of showing them how to
Yeah.
create a life of freedom, purpose, and fulfillment
Yes.
that you are describing right now in this moment. These are the crunch moments that I want my audience to take hold of, because it is possible. And I'd love for you to then take us through the next year or so. How did you end up in where you are today? Perhaps you can let us know.
Yeah, sure. Well, I had a few more years after that, in Bristol still.
Okay.
And I guess I had what things I was able to continue through. I actually took quite a lot of skills from my time as an IFA, where we'd been learning some coaching skills and things through various workshops, courses, etc., that we'd done, so that we were more solution focused for clients rather than just looking at the money side only, helping to actually achieve things in their lives. So I was able to take those coaching skills straight forward into the role. So that was great. So I felt with the tapping tools as well, I was able to, help people in quite a broad way, to help them to understand what they wanted in life, and then to let go of the limiting beliefs and emotional blocks that were stopping them. The other thing I took forward was that I remained in all the business networking groups. So I had a
Yes.
way of actually generating clients straight away. And people saw me go from
Yeah.
the financial advisor. I guess I'd look like I'd had a bit of a breakdown at this point, because since my son was born, I'd stopped shaving and I let my hair grow, so it was really long at this point. I stopped wearing a normal suit. I had this sort of weird brown suit that I was wearing, and but I went, in for example, BNI and 4N, which were networking groups I was involved with.
Mhm.
Yeah, I went just to becoming this coach therapist sort of character, and people were curious, so I had clients straight away. So
Yeah.
that was really helpful, and I highly recommend those. If you're doing a local face-to-face business,
Yes.
those sorts of groups can be really, really valuable for building your for making sure that you can actually, firstly, get really confident in presenting what you do,
Hmm.
and then also get just be having clients coming your way. They're well worth it.
100%. Yeah. No, I intend to do a bit myself. And showing people what online businesses you can wrap around your passions is
Yeah.
something I'm fascinated about. I love the idea of someone saying, oh well, I really like I'll give you an example. There's a guy in our community, he's a chorister, and
Mm.
his skill set is leading choir practice. And you thought,
Yes.
well, how do you wrap a business around that? So
Mm.
during COVID, he set up and facilitated lots of local groups, physical ones, but
Yeah.
they founded they needed a bit of coordination. So what ended up happening was, yes, there were physical meets, but then there were
Mm.
also virtual meets, and
Yeah.
he got so much interest. He set up a membership, And the
Mm,
membership is charged at 20 quid a month, but he
yeah,
hosts, I don't know how many, call it weekly. He's hosting amazingly powerful online choir sessions, and he's got 1,000 customers. So
amazing.
you do
Yeah,
the sums. Like, how do you wrap
yeah,
a business around something like that? You wouldn't know unless you had someone to guide you. So that's why I'm here today. But
yeah.
your journey's inspiring. Let's go through the next sort of year or so. You've organised or you've negotiated your practice exit.
Yeah.
You started up your new one. Are you now full time with it, doing networking?
Well, I was so I was already looking at online presence as well, but it was still with the intention of having most people come to me face to face. I
Hmm.
did do some had I was available for doing what was as was the fashion at the time, Skype sessions. No
Yeah,
one uses anymore. I think it's called Teams or something now, isn't it? And
yeah,
it's
something
rubbish.
like yeah.
Yeah. But I was doing that, and working. I had a room that I could use in a therapy center. Sometimes I'd go to people's homes. Sometimes I would have them come to my place,
Mhm.
and yeah, and it was going well. I was building up. I had a coach. I would have a monthly sort of marketing session with a coach who was. Now, one thing he encouraged me, which I didn't really take notice of at the time, but yeah, I really see the value in it now. He said, you've got to start building your email list as soon as possible.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
like, even if you're not using it yet, just make sure that every time you get an opportunity to capture someone's name and email address, that you have that. And
Yeah,
so I did actually do that with when I did presentations out in the world, I would be collecting name and email address so that I could get in touch with people. But I wasn't really switched on to the idea of the online business
okay,
at that time.
okay.
But I gradually did become over the next sort of couple of years. And yeah, I was still like three quarters live in person, groups and individual. One thing that was interesting with that was I went to a meeting of lots of health practitioners in Bristol, and they were all talking about money. And so I'm like, okay, well, most specifically, their lack of money and their lack of ability to find clients.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, I can use like my financial sort of work
Hmm.
and knowing how to run a business and things like that. Not that I knew it particularly well at that point, alongside the tapping and the emotional work that I do to be able to help these people.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, so I did that and I created some workshops which were called, they ended up being called Bust Out of Your Money Box. And I ran that quite a few times in
Okay.
Bristol, in Brighton, and then that went online eventually. Um, and
And what
yeah,
solution was
so
that? How did you apply the financial acumen to the health practitioner's life?
well, I was helping them with identify what they wanted to create in their life,
Hmm.
what they would need financially for that, and then looking at those elements, so the practical side of finances
I
there.
see.
And
Financial
then
planning. Mm.
when they saw the number and realized the shock as they could not possibly create that with £30 a session clients or whatever, they're not going to reach whatever 50,000 a year or whatever it was that they would need to live the life they imagined for themselves,
Yes.
and use that to actually find the limiting beliefs, emotional blocks, fears, stress, guilt, shame around money,
Oh,
and
I
then using tapping
see.
to help them to release it. And there was a lot more in there. We used lots of visualization techniques, um, and then it evolved, like, and I started including work on values in it as well, which I know
Yes.
is an area that you find very
Yes.
important for people.
Yes.
And actually, people often as you know, people set goals without even knowing what their own values are.
Yes.
So they're setting fake goals, at that point, based on what society thinks they should have or what other people have told them they should be doing, rather than values-based goals which are really in alignment with their heart.
Yes.
And then that became an online course after I'd ran it a while, which still I have available, and yeah, like
That
more
sounds
than 100
amazing.
people have gone through that online, and
Sounds amazing because
that's been great.
I have every intention of referring you clients to help clients with limiting beliefs, because you see it so often. A shiny penny comes
Mm,
along, there's an offer made. Start
yeah,
a business online, but before you can make success out of a business online, you have to cultivate a dedication, a belief in yourself, a confidence, and a focus and resilience, and constant daily action if possible. So all of those things can be a real struggle for someone who's just coming out of a job where, no disrespect, but
absolutely.
the money is
Yeah,
handed on a plate, the tasks are just given to you every day.
yeah.
It's such a production line of is a very mechanical process being an employee. And
Yes.
to start a small business, even if it is just part-time or just getting started, you do need to work on yourself quite a bit, don't you? And
Yeah, I mean it's a massive initiation
yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Well, that course sounds brilliant. I mean, the financial planning side is your lead magnet, if you like. It's the thing that's bringing in people. Like, I don't have that skill. Show me that skill.
Hmm,
And in being taking them through something of value, they're then saying, okay, I could actually do some more work, and it's around limiting belief. So
yeah,
that's super valuable. So let's move on a little bit. You're still in Bristol, I'm guessing.
yes.
Has your second one come along yet, or you still got the?
No, no. So we
Yeah.
yeah, so in 2016, we were renting at that
Mhm.
stage. We actually sold a property, which we'd because there'd been a good opportunity to sell and make some great money. And
Yes.
so we did that, and we rented, and um and we thought it was a long-term rental. Everything was, yeah, you can stay as long as you want. But then we heard, of course, you don't factor in these things that happen. We actually heard through the electricity company getting in touch with us saying, "Oh, we need to do your end of tenancy
Charming.
checks," and we were like, "Whoa!" And I remember it because I just had a meeting with someone else I met from networking, and it was a great meeting, and we were looking at working together. And he's never heard from me again because of his situation. So
You've
sorry,
been
John, if you're watching. And
well, you've heard of being dumped by text. This is being dumped by the energy provider by text.
dumped on by text. Yeah,
How degrading is that?
yeah. But it
Jeez.
was what happened was the guy who he lived in America, our landlord, and he lost his
Okay.
job.
Okay.
And so he had to, so he was like, okay, well, I'm going to come back and live in my house. And yeah, he gave us 3 months. It wasn't like a 1 month to get out
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
We just decided, right, let's go and check out Spain. And we
Okay.
went to a place where we live now, which we like very much.
Fantastic.
And yeah, and so yeah, it's been a base for us ever since.
Tell us about your move to Spain. Your wife and you are both working. Um,
Mm.
Tell us about the transition and the adjustment that you had to make to get yourself into Spain.
Well, I knew that I was going to have to work online mostly because I couldn't
Okay.
rely on going to rural Spain, and we were setting ourselves up to be able to travel around as well. So
Okay.
we weren't, yeah, not just Spain. We were also going to travel, and so I wanted to be online, and so I had to really focus all of my energy and attention onto that, and that was a learning curve because although I'd started down that path, I had to accelerate it.
Yes.
And actually, for the first like few years that after we'd left the UK, um, that we just got by, and we had to dig into some savings, and we yeah, and I still, some months would be great and I'd have loads of clients, and others there'd be nothing at all. Many businesses go through this feast and famine thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And some other things happened, like the crypto was good at the time. And although I've never ever bought any crypto, I was earning it from a blogging platform. And sometimes that was actually covering quite some significant costs
Wow.
in our life. So there was all sorts of cool things that happened and things that I learned along the way. That platform was called Steam It at the time.
I
It's now
remember it.
Hive, it still exists. And yeah, and so but yeah, no, I was able to put videos up on there and get some extra income from it, basically. So there were ways that we kept ourselves going.
Nice.
And then, um, yeah, and then I guess the thing that really did accelerate things for me was during the COVID situation that we all know about, of course,
Yeah.
um, where well, of course, we know all about that, but people started really going online, and there were
Yeah.
lots of people in the UK and well around the world who were stuck at home, contemplating their navels, feeling a lot of fear and dread and existential stuff going on, and they were looking for online solutions. So I started actually being contacted a lot more during that time, and that was yeah, so that really sort of got me ahead in the sort of online side of things.
Okay. Fantastic. And your wife's work didn't translate. Was it a more physical face-to-face work or?
Well, she's actually she did a little bit of massage out here when
Okay.
she got here, but it wasn't really something that she felt passionate about, and so she's actually an artist
Oh, okay.
now, doing beautiful digital art.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell us about the impact of COVID, because obviously you're going online. Everyone's now contemplating the navel. You've presumably got some more leads now, and
Yes.
you're able to really solidify that position of being an online service provider. Did you create courses then, or?
I did all sorts of things. I didn't create any more. I did market that bust out of your money box course, and that was good.
Okay.
I did. Um, I ran some groups. I ran some free events to help people deal with the stress and fear around the situation. Sometimes having, I ran them with another coach called Patricia, who's amazing, does great work, and Patricia Madalena. I was doing some tapping, and she was taking people through guided stuff, working with energy, working with consciousness.
Okay.
And yeah, I think we had nearly 200 people on one of those calls at
Wow.
one point. And so that was actually really good. And that brought loads of energy towards us and new
Fantastic.
contacts on the email list. So that really helped to build it up. And that,
Okay.
you know, that was a great way of building up leads, was to run, like, to be giving something valuable that people were really getting a lot out of, and really
Sure.
showed off what we were doing, and then
Fantastic.
enabling us to, yeah, operate on that basis. So
Fantastic. So tell us a little about the networking you did I presume you settled. Did you do any traveling and then settle back in Spain?
yeah,
You did.
so yeah, we were coming and going. We
Right.
live here fully now,
Okay.
and I mean, I don't do much here. I don't work much in my local area, because where I am, there's tons and tons of people doing holistic health work.
Okay.
There's it's
Let,
a
let me reframe the question then. How did you get to know your local community during
Oh,
this?
my local community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, it's an amazing place around here,
Okay.
in an area called La Alpahara,
Okay.
and it's very easy to meet people here, actually.
Okay.
And before like before all of the like nonsense that started in 2020, we already had a good sort of social community here. But then in 2020, and I remember like my posts just before, like, oh, what's your 2020 vision and all that sort of thing. Yes, very good. So 2020 is going to be an amazing year. And it was, but not the way that we thought it was going to be. Um, we had, so within a few weeks, because it's quite an unusual area around here, there's lots of people from all over the world. Um, it's people have already been living in community here um, quite strongly. There was a lot of people who were resistant to the narrative, let's say,
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
and we quickly all came together and we
Fantastic.
had, yeah, we met up, we created online infrastructure, and we just got things going to
Fantastic.
really support each other during these times. We didn't know how far it was going, whether we were going to have to really exit everything at that time or not.
Yeah.
And so we set up as if that might happen. And we made amazing friends and connections, and and that still remains. And now we've got a really strong sort of local community in regards.
That's totally awesome. Like that must make you feel so safe and just I guess heartwarming as well, because
Yeah.
we had something called Stand in the Park in UK,
Yes.
and it allows you to find who's in your area
Yeah.
and stay in touch afterwards, which is lovely. But
Yes.
to have quite as many, I mean, you did tell me offline, but yeah, quite a few, let's call it, in
Yes.
your network. Sounds amazing. So I guess let's lean into this energy topic now. Let's get
Okay.
into what took you from, a holistic approach to someone's well-being to the whole energy subject, and what we're going to finish this conversation up talking. And we'll put this conversation right at the top of the show as well, so we get a chance to hear it right at the top of the show. But tell
Cool.
us about your kind of journey into the whole, all things energy
Yes.
and Reiki. Yeah, I guess that plays a part, does it?
Well, it did at the time. I don't really use Reiki
Okay.
anymore, but it was like the gateway drug, if you like, to the energy world. EFT, which is the tapping, you're working on the meridian system, which is an energy system in
Hmm.
the body. And and I was already, and where you actually come to the conclusion and the understanding is that everything's energy. Whether just because it's solid, it's just vibrating at the same a similar frequency to you are, so you can touch it and it feels solid. But there's all these different frequencies that are going on all of the time, that everything is basically created of, however that has happened. And you can, through affecting frequency, you can change so many things.
Okay.
And one of the things about tapping, if you think with tapping, you're tapping on these different points, and that's physical.
Hmm.
You've got the soothing effect of something physical happening, but then what it's and of the physical effect that they've studied is that it affects the amygdala and the hippocampus, calms them, and enables you to engage the cortex, the higher brain, basically. So it can take you out of that fight, flight, freeze, fear type response.
Hmm.
But it then has an effect in the mental realm, because it helps you to change your beliefs and your understanding of things that have happened. Then it's working in the emotions. Then it's working from that point. Actually, it's rippling out into the energetic realm. And then even because we can access things like ancestral patterns, past lives, we're working into the etheric realm. And then, even vibrating all the way to all that is, basically. So you're changing energy at every level with this simple, silly looking tapping technique,
I
but it's
have
just having this subtle vibrational effect, powerful in some ways, but also subtly, I would say, influencing and changing things in the morphic resonance of reality.
That's amazing. So I watched a video yesterday where they described how the Rockefeller medicine and the periodic table, the ether was removed off the periodic table in
Oh,
the
right.
early 1900s.
Mm.
And yeah, the Akashic record is another word that comes up for me. Like
Yes.
there's an energy footprint that goes back hundreds and hundreds of, or however long years.
Forever, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever
and
that is.
yeah. So, but I totally get this because they say you can measure someone's EMF field outside of your body for a good number of meters.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, so it's like something like 15 meters you can measure the electromagnetic frequency of the heart from.
okay.
I saw and I reposted a meme yesterday that scientists have now recognized that there is brainwave frequencies are measured between everyone's brains, connecting every conscious being on the planet. And I was like, well, wait till they hear what the heart's up to in that, because although yeah, that's amazing, of course, and evidence for telepathy, which absolutely is a real thing.
Yes.
But the heart is very, very powerful as a receiver and transmitter of information as well. And you've got the brain, the heart, and the gut, which have all got neurons in, and they're all interacting with each other as a physical and energetic sort of relay in your decision making, or yeah, way that
Definitely.
you are in the world. So
Definitely, because that gut feeling is called a gut feeling for a reason, isn't it?
yeah,
And heart-centered life is often the most fulfilling life, isn't it? Because
yes,
like your decision to quit IFA, your head said, "Oh,
mm,
that's a good opportunity," but your heart went, "Oh no."
yeah.
And so how is this energy principle leading you up to what you're just about to tell us? You've given us the concept and how it
Yes.
might apply to our individual lives. Tell us about this collective project you have.
Okay, yeah. So I am just creating and I have coming up very soon a workshop called Frequency Rebellion. And I created this because, I've been on this awakening journey for a long time, as have you, and many people that we know. And we also know many people have been on a crash course
Yes.
since 2020, where the information has just been huge and there's been an overload, and it can be quite easy for people to get overwhelmed, fearful because they're seeing doom and gloom, like the control system's all powerful,
Yeah.
this kind of thing, and there's a lot of both in the mainstream and also in the alternative media, there's lots of doom and gloom stuff there as well.
Yeah.
And so it's very easy to connect to this fearfulness, this powerlessness, sense that it's all nothing, it's all doom and gloom. Whereas, like as with the work that you're doing and with what I'm doing, I really believe that the most important thing is for people, first of all, is to focus on their individual fulfillment and creating the life that they want, and then ripple outwards from that to change the world rather than
Yes.
having the world changing them. So in this workshop, Frequency Rebellion, we're going to basically help people to get coherent with themselves. So their nervous system, like basically simple tools to bring their heart and their brain into coherence, calm the nervous system. Then we're going to use tapping in a group setting. Group tapping is brilliant because there's this collective energy called borrowing benefits. So you can all benefit from hearing someone tap on their individual situation, whatever it is.
Mhm.
You can also find healing for yourself in that as well. And then we're going to go from that. When we've got to a good level of coherence in the group, we're actually going to do a collective energy process and like send yeah, what I'm calling a directed energy beam at the control grid. But it's not really at the control grid, it's really about creating the reality
Yes.
that we all want to live in and how that would feel. And actually affecting something called the morphic resonance, which is the concept that you can change what's going on vibrationally through your intention.
Mm.
Quite well researched. If you look at things like the Maharishi effect in Washington, D.C., where they had lots of people meditating, and
Yeah.
violent crime went down 23% in that area over that time.
Yeah.
Lynn McTaggart did the intention experiments, and there was lots of, yeah, those worked well. And she ran Power of Eight groups and came up with that concept of people working together in groups. I heard the other day about that they'd done lots of experiments in prisons where they would have uh, some of the inmates would be meditating and violence would go down. It was recognized that it's going down
Yeah.
because of this vibrational ripple effect. So yeah, we'll be looking at creating that.
Sounds
And
awesome.
yeah, so that's the general key to it. So it's empowering to the individual in their own life, but also with the intention of building a frequency and informing the collective of a new, more empowered reality.
That sounds absolutely amazing because I look at two other anecdotal things like the Olympic ceremony of 2012. They know
Mm.
what they're doing. They were spell
Yeah,
casting that day, weren't they? They were
yeah,
projecting something quite bleak, but and also just people who come together in prayer. It's a kind of similar process, isn't it? You kind of
yeah.
focusing your positive intention outwards to a creator, and it's the same principle, I guess.
It is
So
indeed, yeah. Collective prayer is doing the same thing. So these are all ways of combining energy, but I think the key is being coherent and not having chaos in your heart and your energy system before you do it. Because if you're praying from that fearful place, then you're
yes.
still like directing fear out. And as you say, they like actually this the fat controllers or whatever we want to call them,
Yeah.
powers what was, are they know this stuff, and so they through fear and chaos and people being in disharmony, they're actually
Yeah.
able to use our energy towards their what
Would
they
you?
want the world to be like rather than what we want, which is why I think the individual creation is really important.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we're really moving. I think we're moving towards that. That's what's interesting is I put this workshop out last Wednesday. To invite people in. I'd been thinking about it for months, but then suddenly I created it in just a few days and had everything out there and ready to go. And this shows me that the resonance is already here for this because on the Friday, some commentators I follow, perhaps you've seen Derek Bros,
Yes.
Freedom
Yeah.
Cells. He
Yes.
started talking about it as well, about clear how we need to exit here's how we need to exit the fear paradigm to be able to move forward. So I clicked on that, and then it was eight like some top quality commentators from the US all having a conversation in a very intellectual way
Yes.
about how fear affects the brain and how we need to move out of it to be able to engage higher stuff. But then they all started talking about collective energy as
Amazing.
well. So I actually sent that interview out to my mailing list because it was so in resonance with what I'm doing and amazing that it appeared at the same time. And then on another channel with it was Alex Zek with The Way Forwards, who probably you've seen his stuff as well. He was saying the same thing as well. Now he
Amazing.
might have been saying it in response to their interview, perhaps, but it was just very interesting to see. Like suddenly it was everywhere.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you didn't really need too much. You didn't. I suspect it came like a hurricane
Yeah.
when you started the action in response to the feeling.
Yes.
You got so much done so quickly, and you got almost validation pretty quickly as well. You're on the right path, which is awesome.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
nice.
been and I know and it's yeah, it's going well. Like even just in the early times, I already had quite a number of people join. So it
Brilliant.
seems that it is something that people really do want at the moment, and it is the time for it. So
So
yeah.
give us the date and the time, and we'll put some links in the show notes for you.
Okay, yeah. So the live workshop is going to happen on it's a week Tuesday now. So we're talking on the 4th of August. It's going to be on the 12th of August, and it's happening 7 p.m. UK time, midday in central USA. And yeah, it's very low cost. And because I just feel like it's great to get as many people together for this intention experiment as possible, but also, but it is not just about the collective thing. There's some really amazing benefits individually for taking part as well, in terms of feeling like more empowered to create a life that you want, releasing yourself from fear and hopelessness. And it will, like you found with the tapping course that you did,
Hmm.
it will shift things for you in quite a tangible way. Anyone that comes on this, as well as adding the energy to the collective transformation, which
And
is going to be awesome.
if you can't make it on that day and that time,
Yeah, well, the recording will be available for anyone who signs up.
fantastic.
And because of the quantum nature of all of this, you can, if you watch the recording after, and if you tap along with it and do the exercises, you'll still get as much out of it as if you were there live. And then you're still adding your energy to the collective
Nice.
thingy as well.
Fantastic. Well, I hope it's an absolutely amazing success for you, Sam, and
Thank you.
I hope you do some more as well. And if I get out to Spain, I'm gonna need to look you up, come and see
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it'd be great to see you out here. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So let's just ask you a couple of questions to wrap up then. So
Hmm.
if someone has got stuck in their life and they are looking to break into something new, like let's describe what you were saying earlier. They've swallowed all the red pills. They're
Hmm.
pretty black pilled now.
Yeah.
What suggestions would you make to them in order to get out of this funk?
Well, I mean, so you, first of all, this realization that you're not powerless, and that it's really key to take charge of your own life. And I say take charge rather than be in control, because control to me is quite a sort of disempowering thing of trying to manage
Mm,
stuff. But taking charge, like charge is like the positive energy of like moving forwards in your life. And just now, I know of course, there's all sorts of situations people are in, and this can be easier for some than others to do this,
mm,
but just whatever you can change and start, yeah, and just whatever you can do. It can be tiny little steps. It might just be becoming confident. It might just be like small things that you can do to begin with. People are often looking for some massive transformation.
mhm.
And while those things can happen, actually, what really works is in the same way as compounded interest,
Yes.
like these tiny little percentage changes day by day over time, and then suddenly they're going to snowball. Where I said snowball as I went upwards then, of course, but
Yeah.
yeah, but it's you know the thing that, yeah, these tiny little changes over time add up to something big happening. There's that saying, isn't there, that an overnight success takes 10 years of practice, or
Yeah.
something
I
along those
totally
lines.
recommend
But
The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson,
yeah.
that book, to read for that very principle. And what would you say your kind of mission is now, Sam? I mean, you've probably personified it in this event that you're going to run, but if you were to say what's your kind of your mission and your goals and vision for your business and your life now,
Mm.
how would you sum it up?
So I value freedom extremely highly. It's
Hmm.
my top value, and then my second value is love. So those are my two top values, and they do interchange with each other as I
Yeah.
go through life. But generally, that's what I'm really trying to bring out into the world for everyone. And my my intention is that we it's going to become like I'm going to be bringing more of that potential for people to live individuated lives where they love themselves, bring love out into the world, love what they're doing, and and they're actually, most of those people, if they're operating that way, are going to be positively benefiting other people around them as well, and maybe even more than that. It could have so it's that ripple effect thing of people living lives that they want, and because they're good people and them living the lives that they want doesn't involve other people being hurt or losing anything, that has an positive effect in all sorts of ways, right from the family having a better life together, out to the community, their customers, the people that they work with as well, even like strangers they bump into in the street, but they're happier, more coherent energy, that can even be carried on into other things that happen in that complete stranger's life, just because of the energy that they've unconsciously picked up out there. So that's it's just to really enable people to step forwards and live fulfilling lives as themselves.
That is such a fantastic way to finish the podcast. Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. How can people reach you?
So, you can contact me at sam@eftnow.co.uk. That's also my web address, eftnow.co.uk. And on there, there's ways you can book a call with me if you're interested in working with me. You can email me with any questions that you've got, and I'm likely to get back to you quite quickly. And if you want to check out the Freedom Rebellion, sorry, I call it Freedom Rebellion, but it's actually Frequency Rebellion session. It is free. There'll be a link around here, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, we'll give you a link for that in the show notes. So you've heard it here first, or you've heard it here this week, that there's an event coming up. And Sam, we wish you all the very best with that. I'm going to log in for sure. I can't wait to be part of it.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you there.
I'll share this far and wide. So you are definitely unplugged and unstoppable, sir. So on that note, I wish you well. Have a brilliant week.
I aim to be, yeah.
Take care. All the best, folks, and see you again soon.
Thanks, Robin. Bye, everyone. Yeah, loads of love.
I feel a shift now, I've got to move off the floor, 'cause I'm unplugged and unstoppable. No force could ever break this mold of titanium. You can't shake me, oh, 'cause I'm unplugged, unplugged. I'm unplugged, unplugged. I'm unplugged, unplugged and unstoppable. Yeah, Now I'm reborn into a new life. I choose my new life and leave my old one behind. Yeah, 'cause when I open my eyes now to no force could ever break this mold of titanium.